back with some theory workbook, level 1B, looking at pages 9 to 12 today. And this part is not too bad. It's all mostly about flats, right? We looked at a lot of sharps before, so this is continuing with the idea of flats. So just a few things to notice when you're drawing these. It says the flat sign comes before the note, right? When they're on the staff lines. Same thing goes for the sharps, the naturals, everything else goes before the note. So before you play it, you know you've got to alter that note. But you notice when you're writing the name of it, the letter, then it goes after. So it's a little bit funny, but that's just kind of how it works. So that's what they're saying here is we see a flat E, right? But we say E flat. All right, and then the other thing is they say the flat sign captures the same line that the note is on, right? So this is a line note E, right? So that round part of the flat should be in the same line as that. So they line up together. Same idea if you have a space note, right? That round part goes in that same space with the note itself. Yeah, same things there. So as you're drawing them, right, basically you have a vertical line, right, just like they've got here. It looks like a small B, except that it's pointy on the bottom, right? That's very typical for flat signs. So at the bottom, you're just naming, right? That part's easy. Name those flatted notes. So basically, you're just writing the letter, like this again is an E, and then put the flat afterwards, right? And then you're naming those. Just watch what clef sign you're dealing with. And then down here, just like when you did an exercise with the sharps, you're just drawing these particular notes with flats. So here they say use space notes. So again, if you have choices like this, the F flat, it could be this F, it could be that F, right? That would be a line note F though. So you've got to use a space note since it says use space notes. So this F, and then you put the flat sign before it, and again, watch the position, right, in the same space or same line, and it should look like a flat. So these are treble clef ones. Sometimes they want bass clef ones, but it's all the same idea. Okay, so space notes for that, and then this part is using line notes. So just make sure you watch that. Yeah, because there's other options. You could have a space note G, but you don't want that. You want the line note. All right, so that part's not too difficult. Page 10 is heading you into the natural signs. Right, just like they say, natural sign cancels a sharp or flat. A white key is always played. It always means you're going to play just a regular white key, whatever that letter is. All right, so there's treble clef, there's bass clef. And the same idea with placement. So when you're placing them on the staff lines, you can see how it goes. The center of it, the biggest part of it should line up with a note, right? If that's a line note, that's a line note, natural. If you have a space note, then it's a space note natural. All right, so they have you drawing some of them, and then naming, right? Name the treble clef, right? Name the bass clef ones, right? Again, watch for clef signs. Down here, using whole notes and natural signs, cancel each sharped or flatted note below. Also name each note. Some people overthink this. All you're doing is putting exactly the same note, right? So this is the F, the space note F. Put the natural sign in front of it, right? And then you're just naming them both. This is F sharp, and this was an F natural, right? So you don't have to do anything really fancy. Just cancel it out and then write the names. All right, and then page 11, you're just naming. And this part, just like you think, it's pretty simple. Here you're just writing a regular C. This part you're going to say D flat, right? Just going right on down there. I think there's no big deals here. Oh, they say name each note in C position, name each note in D position or middle C. It doesn't matter what position you're in. The note, wherever it's placed, is that note. So like this D flat, if you're in D position, it's still a D, right? It doesn't make any difference what position is. I think they just mentioned that because you're playing a lot of these different hand positions. But it makes no difference. A note is a note. The letter is the letter, no matter where your hands are. All right, and then page 12. If you're going to get confused, it'd probably be here. This is the part about enharmonics. And if you remember, we looked at enharmonics. If you've gotten to page, I think it was 14 in the piano method book, that little blues, slow blues day, that's what it's called. Enharmonics are just two different names for the exact same key on the piano. So like D sharp, E flat, they're both this exact same key. Same with G sharp, A flat, right? Once in a while you get like this, you've got a B sharp and C, a regular C, right? These are two names for that white key. That happens when you have those white keys next to each other. right? So just be careful with those. All right, so down here, so what you're doing is label each key designated below with its enharmonic names. So each of these keys should have two names that you're putting here, right? And most of them are pretty easy. You're just going to approach from the right and from the left. Just name a sharp or a flat, right? Typically. Sometimes, like if it's a white key like this one, just like we were looking at up there just now, this is just a regular F, right? If you're looking at that key by itself. If you tried to call it some kind of G, you'd need two flats to get there. So it's not the G, it's got to be the E sharp. So here you write E sharp, and here you write F. There are double sharps and double flats eventually, but you don't need to deal with them now, right? Just make it simple. It's either the white key or it's one sharp or one flat. All right, so that's that part. Down here, using whole notes and the appropriate sharps or flats, draw the enharmonic equivalent to the notes below, and then name the notes. So here you've got, if you're naming it, this is treble clef, this is F flat, so you just write that in here. And you can kind of think about it on the piano. If you're looking at your piano, right here, C, D, F. If you flat that F, you're here. So the other name for that same key is just E, right? It's just a regular E. So we're going to go back up here and write that. We'll draw, it's the E underneath, right? Because we went to the left. So you don't want to draw like the E up here. It wouldn't make sense. You want the two sounds to be exactly the same, right? Exactly the same key in the end. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. Do it all in treble clef. Some of them will be one flat, one sharp, or one sharp, one flat, but sometimes you're writing one white key because it's a white key thing. Yeah. All right. Hope that makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions.